Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for April 19th, 2018 at 8:01 PM. On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Here.
Churdo,
Here.
Dombrowski,
Here.
Giandomenico,
Here.
Pellegrin,
Here.
Golubek, Mayor Catamani.
Here,
We have a quorum.
can everyone please rise for the prayer and the flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we entrust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keener sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbors. Guide us in our deliberation so that our decisions will always please you and bring your peace and happiness to our community. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires that at the commencement of every meeting, a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing an annual meeting notice in the record at the Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such a notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 4, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, be advised that the meeting the meeting is being videotaped. It will be on Cablevision, Channel 77, on Tuesdays, 12 p.m., Thursdays at 9 a.m., Fridays, 8 p.m. The video is also available at the Borough website, www.elmwoodparknj.us.
Mayor, this evening, under the approval of minutes, we have the March 8th, 2018 work session, the March 15th, 2018 regular meeting, and the April 5th, 2018 executive session.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
I just want to check with the minutes. I was out on, is it April
April 5th.
5th, so
Abstain.
I'm going to abstain on,
Okay. And yes to the two others?
yes.
Council members Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
Abstain March 8th and okay with the other ones.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening we have the adoption of the 2018 municipal budget. We are required under law to hold a public hearing on the 2018 municipal budget. So may I recommend that we have our Chief Financial Officer, Roy Rigatano, and our Municipal Auditor, Steve Wilcox, here who can give a brief summary as to where we stand with the budget before we open the public hearing.
Thank you. This evening, the budget itself for the taxpayer, the increase will be $32 for the local. The library is $11. Total increase for this year will be $43 on a home assessed at $328,816. I want to thank the council for all their help, our auditor, the Administrator Keith. This was ongoing since October. And our finance chair, both Maggie in the previous and our new finance chair as well. I want to thank everybody for their help, including you, Dan.
Steve, you have anything you want to add? Mayor, we'll need a motion to open the public hearing on the 2018 municipal budget.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Pellegrin, second by Dombrowski.
Is anyone from the public wish to?
Mayor, we'll just need a roll call on that. Council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yeah.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Is anyone here from the public who'd like to speak on this ordinance here? No? Close the portion of the public.
Okay. Mayor, we'll move on to 5B, which is Resolution 122-18, a resolution adopting the 2018 municipal budget. Be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, hereby adopt the 2018 municipal budget set forth herein and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorizations of the amount of $28,630,022 for municipal purposes.
I may have a motion to introduce the ordinance.
The councilwoman wants a comment on the budget.
Would
Well,
you
we'll-
please?
It's going to be now, right?
Through you, Mayor, we'll need a motion to introduce, to adopt
So
the
moved.
municipal budget. Moved by
Second.
Gian Domenico, seconded by Dombrowski. Now we can have discussion on the budget.
Yes?
So one of the common themes that is always with our residents, they don't particularly always understand their tax bill, and what I have done every budget cycle in the last 3 years is did a preliminary 2018 tax levy breakdown just to let every resident know what their tax bill is broken down on. You have about 60% of your tax bill goes to the local school tax, 30.13% goes to your municipal, library tax is about 1.26%, county is 8.47%, and your open space is 0.36%. And the only portion of the tax bill that the mayor and council control in the municipal is the municipal budget. We don't control the county or the school. I know we get frequent questions about it, but unfortunately, we don't have much say in that. And I would like to thank our council president in his capacity as the finance chair for continuing the budget hearings that were brought back in the budget process in 2016. I'd like to thank our CFO, Roy Rigatano, and our borough administrator, Keith Kasmark, for all of their work at the borough budget and for keeping a steady hand on the borough's operations and financial standing throughout the year. I'd like to thank all of our department heads who came into our budget hearings ready to delineate their wants versus their needs, and they were great about it. They were able to distinguish what they wanted versus what they actually needed and what was the burden that we would want to impact the taxpayer on. All of our borough employees who are always committed to providing efficient and economical government to our residents. And thank you to all of our emergency services, volunteers, and residents, too numerous to name, for caring about Elmwood Park and all of your help throughout the year to make Elmwood Park as unique as it is. That's it.
Anyone else?
Mayor, if I could just add, thank you, Councilwoman, for that description. Putting the municipal budget truly is a collaborative process that requires everyone's input in the entire borough, whether it's the council, our administrator, Mr. Rigatano, our CFO, Mr. Wilcox, our auditor, all of our department heads, the public. All of these pieces come together to what is the final product, the municipal budget. As the councilwoman said, it's only roughly a third of the taxes you end up ultimately paying, but it's an important third. And I think this council did their due diligence in making sure that all the money we are spending of yours is being spent responsibly. With that, I think we've come out with a responsible budget that will allow us to be responsible and fiscally prudent in the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Call the roll?
On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening on ordinances, actually, if you want to excuse these gentlemen,
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I caught them out of the corner of my eye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good night.
Take care.
Mayor, this evening we have 9 ordinances on first and second reading, so bear with me. We'll start with Resolution 123-18, introduce ordinance 18-07 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Delete the Bus Stop at Market Street and Terrace Avenue in the Borough of Elmwood Park" be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 21st, 2018, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing is required by law.
May I have a motion to introduce the
So
ordinance?
moved. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor, through you, this is the bus stop that was originally relocated to this location after additional discussion with the police department due to some concerned business owners and residents. We are recommending that it be deleted. Just for the council's edification, the June 21st adoption date is due to the fact that this, once it's introduced here, will have to go to the county for concurrence, so we're giving the county some additional time before we adopt our ordinance. On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Absolutely.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golobeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 124-18, introduce ordinance 18-08 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic" be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on May 17th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction, and final hearing is required by law.
May I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Golobeck.
Call the roll.
Mayor, through you, this is a traffic ordinance which will restrict parking on Magnolia Street between Magnolia and Columbia. This is done at the request of the Elmwood Park Volunteer Fire Department with the concurrence of the police department. On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golobeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 125-18, introduce ordinance 18-09 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled "A Bond Ordinance" to authorize the undertaking of various improvements to the intersection of Market Street and Mola Boulevard in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $173,400 to pay for the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, May 17th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction, and final hearing is required by law.
May I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Call
Mayor,
the roll, please.
Mayor, through you, this is additional funding for the borough's portion of the preparatory work and also for the streetscape work that will be done in conjunction with the county project, which are the improvements to Market Street and Mola Boulevard intersection. On roll call, councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golobeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-126-18, introduce ordinance 18-10 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Amending Section 2-27 entitled Police Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park," to add subsection 27.26 to be entitled "Outside Employment of Off-Duty Police Officers," be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, May 17th, 2018, at 8 p.m. or sooner thereafter, as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
May I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, through you, this is an ordinance that was revised by our Labor Council and also resets the fees for school security jobs to $50 per hour with no administrative fee.
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golobeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to ordinances on second reading. Resolution 127-18, introduce ordinance 18-02 on second reading. Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 15th, 2018, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic pass on final reading.
May I have a motion to open the floor to the public comment?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Please, if
Yes.
anyone wishes to be heard regarding this ordinance, please state your name and address. Anybody here?
And Mayor, just for the record, this is a parking change regarding snow removal efforts during the winter season for Gall Avenue.
Okay. I guess if anyone wishes to be heard on this ordinance. No?
Close it.
If not, I close to the public. I need a motion.
So moved?
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call to close, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
Mayor will need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So
Okay.
moved?
Second?
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 128-18, introduce ordinance 18-03 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 2 thereof, entitled Administration, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 15th, 2018, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 2 thereof, entitled Administration, will pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
Okay. May I have a motion to open the floor to the
So
public?
moved.
Second.
Okay, and roll call.
Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
If anyone wishes to be heard at this regarding this ordinance, please come forward, state your name.
And Mayor, through you, this is a revision to the table of organization for the Elmwood Park Police Department.
If no one, if no one wants to be heard, close to the public,
So
need a
moved?
motion?
Second?
Okay, call roll, please.
Roll call to close. Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yep.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
Okay, may I have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yep.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Three more. Resolution R-129-18, introduce ordinance 18-04 on second reading. Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, March 15th, 2018, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
Okay, may I have a motion to open to the floor to the public?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll.
On roll call to open, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Sure.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golbeck?
Yes.
If anyone wishes to be heard regarding this ordinance, please come forward. No one? Across the public? Somebody? Come on, please. George Martinez? State your name, please, and address.
George Martinez, 89 Glenwood Avenue. Just a quick question for clarification on my end. Why would the town take out a bond and I guess, pay interest if there is an anticipated surplus? So why would it be necessary for such a small amount of $240,000? I guess just clarification again as to the process.
So, Mr. Martinez, there are only first of all, this ordinance tonight establishes a cap bank for future budgets. So depending on where we are in meeting our 2% requirement under the state guidelines, we will have some flexibility in future years, especially if we come in under 2%. So that's relative to this particular ordinance. To your question, the difference between budgeting and bonding, there are only certain criteria that you can use to fund a project through a bond ordinance. So it's usually a long-term capital plan, road resurfacing, construction, sewer and water utility projects, these types of things. So basically what you're doing is you're taking out the money and you're paying it over a 20, 25, 30-year program. Whereas the budget is more of your day-to-day operations, your salaries and wages, your
And then every year-
operational costs.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's similar if you take out a loan to purchase a house or to lease a car. or
You're not paying
buy
all
a
up
car.
front.
Right, you're not
Got
paying
it.
it all at once. That's how I would relate it best to your home budget.
Got it. Okay,
Okay.
cool. That's all I wanted. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mayor, will you-
Anyone else? Anyone else wants to be heard after this ordinance? No? Let's close to the public.
So moved.
Need a motion?
Second.
Call the roll?
On roll call to close, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Mayor will need a motion to adopt the
Motion to
ordinance.
adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call the roll?
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Resolution 130-18, introduce ordinance 18-05 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the resurfacing of portions of Franklin Street, Orchard Street, and Lee Street in, by, and for the County of Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $240,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in the anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, March 15, 2018, and that further consideration of this ordinance will be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the resurfacing of portions of Franklin Street, Orchard Street, and Lee Street in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $240,000 to pay the cost thereof, and to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
Okay. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public comments?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
On roll call to open to the public, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Sure.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
If anyone wishes to be heard regarding this ordinance, please come forward. No one wishes to speak, so close this portion of the public. I need a motion.
So moved. Second. Or.
Okay.
Ballestieri, Dombrowski. On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion
May I
carries.
have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Last one, guys. Resolution 131-18, introduce ordinance 18-06 on second reading. Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend sections of Ordinance 2-2 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Police Department by amending Sections 2-27.11, 2-27.21, and 2-27.22. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, March 15, 2018, and that further consideration of this ordinance will be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend Sections Ordinance 2-2, the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, entitled Police Department, by amending Sections 2-27.11, 2-27.21, and 2-27.22, pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open the hearing to the public.
I have a motion to open the floor to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirito?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
If anyone wishes to be heard regarding this ordinance, please come forward. No one wishes to be heard, so I close the portion of the public. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call to close, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, we need a motion to adopt.
Yeah, may I have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Chirdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
And Mayor, pardon me, but this is a change to the ordinance as it, with regard to disciplinary hearings in the police department, and this too, like the original ordinance that I discussed earlier, was recommended by Labor Council. Motion carries. Let me take a drink here before we get to the consent agenda, right? Okay. Mayor, this evening under the consent agenda, we have Resolution 132-18, payment of bills, Resolution 133-18, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 134-18, a resolution revising the drug and alcohol policy contained in the Policies and Procedures Manual of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Resolution 135-18, approve emergency sanitary sewer repair, 275 Kip Avenue, Resolution 136-18, approve balance of emergency sanitary sewer repair, 275 Kip Avenue, Resolution 137-18, authorize the distribution for donation of poppies, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 5084. Resolution 138-18, authorize vacation buyback for various municipal employees. Resolution 139-18, appoint special counsel representation for property tax appeals. Resolution 140-18, authorize the 2017 LoSAP program for the Elmwood Park Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Resolution 141-18, appoint Department of Public Works laborer Michael Giuliano. Resolution 142-18, approve educational adjustment as per the white blue-collar contract for Daniel Caron, dispatcher. 143-18, appoint keyboarding 1 violation clerk in the municipal court, Anita Sifja. Resolution 144-18, authorize the release of performance cash bond for ELRAC LLC. Resolution 145-18, a resolution to preserve the CDBG funding for fiscal year 2018-2019 relative to the federal budget. Resolution 146-18, authorize the execution of special projects engineer agreement with Costa Engineering. Resolution 147-18, authorize additional funding for special counsel police department. Resolution 148-18, redeem third-party tax lien, 215 Roosevelt Avenue. Resolution 149-18, retirement resolution for Dolores Vandermeed as a dispatcher in the Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 150-18, appoint McNerney and Associates, Inc. for various appraisal services located at 99 Main Avenue. Resolution 151-18, person-to-person liquor license transfer 0211-44-008-005. Resolution 152-18, authorize mutual fire aid with Central Bergen Mutual Fire Aid Association. Resolution 153-18, authorize the execution of exempt status for Elmwood Park firefighters. Resolution 154-18, a resolution required for the traffic flow at the property located at 180 Broadway, Block 302, Lot 1. That's the proposed ShopRite. Resolution 155-18, a resolution to change the verbiage in the white blue-collar contract. Resolution 156-18, authorize additional funding for underground storage tanks to Boswell Engineering. Resolution 157-18, resolution requesting a 6-month extension from the NJDOT relevant to the improvements to Mola Boulevard, Section 10, Phase 2. Resolution 158-18, authorize refunds for the Recreation Department programs. Resolution 159-18, appointment of firefighters to the Elmwood Park Fire Department. Resolution 160-18, appoint school security officers, Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 161-18, approve proposal for professional planning services to Calker and Calker relative to our Council on Affordable Housing Settlement. And Resolution 162-18, a resolution to accept the consent agenda.
May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call the roll.
Mayor,
Discussion?
I'd like to do a motion to table. Would that be before discussion, Mr. Kazmark?
You can discuss it and then choose to amend your
You want to go ahead? or
motion
I
to
can go?
approve it, to remove
No,
it if you'd
I
like.
just, I've been doing a little reading, and I'd just like to respectfully request the council to support my motion to table R 155-18 to the May 10th work session for further discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have, can I recommend that we do it this way? Councilman, why don't you request that we pull that off 155-18? We'll table it separately after we approve the consent agenda. So I would need an
Sure.
amending motion from...
We'll discuss it separately?
Yes. Well, I'll need an amending motion from Councilman Golubek to remove 155-18 from the consent agenda to be voted on as a separate matter, and Councilman Pellegrin would need to consent to that?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other
Yeah, I'd like to pull 146-18 from the consent.
146?
-18.
Okay. So Councilman Golubek and Councilwoman Pellegrin, will you both agree to remove 155 and 146 from the consent agenda to be voted on as a separate matter?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to approve the consent agenda without 146-18 and without 155-18. All the other resolutions listed would be voted on as consent.
So may I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll again.
On roll call for the consent agenda, absent 146 and 155. Council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
All right, bear with me one second. We'll go in numerical order. Resolution 146-18, authorize the execution of special engineer agreement with Costa Engineering. Whereas at the reorganization meeting of the Elm Park Mayor and Council, which was held on January 4th, 2018, appointments were made for various professionals. And whereas said agreement for the following professional has been submitted to the Borough Clerk's office for execution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that Mayor Francesco A. Caramagna and Borough Clerk Keith Kazmark are hereby authorized to execute the service agreement between the Borough of Elmwood Park and the following professional, Costa Engineering of Hackensack, New Jersey. Mayor will need a motion and a second, and then you can have discussion.
Second.
Second.
I
Pellegrin,
guess it'll be a discussion.
Giandomenico, now you'll have discussion.
So what we usually ask our business administrator and our clerk is to do, anytime we get quotes for our cameras in the park or so, is usually to solicit second quotes. And what we have discussed in our work sessions was that unless it's an extraordinary, unspecifiable service that our current borough engineer, Alimo Engineering, cannot fulfill, this is the only way that we would look at Costa Engineering, and it would be a job that would have to be pre-approved by the council. So I just wanted to reiterate that to our council, that it's not something that we're just going to give like side jobs out to a special engineer. It has to be really something out of the scope of work that our current engineer cannot take on, and it does have to be a job that has to be pre-approved by our current council. So, that's it.
Anybody want to answer this? No?
I'll only give a little bit more credit to what Councilwoman Giandomenico was mentioning is, we had an incident this year where when we were doing the streetscape, the engineer that was in charge of doing the streetscape could not be the engineer that was in charge of doing the actual inspection. So, to the Councilwoman's point, there are needs when we have to have two separate, to have two on hand, and so we are going to go forward with Costas.
Anyone else?
Mayor, we have a motion and a second.
So moved?
No, we have it.
Oh, sorry.
Just need a roll call.
Who's the roll?
On roll call, council members Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golubek?
Yes.
Resolution R 155-18, resolution to change the verbiage in the white blue-collar contract. Whereas it has been requested by representatives of the White Blue Collar Employee Association to revise the following verbiage within their current contract. Schedule A, Section 2, remove anniversary stipends are outlined on page 22 of this agreement. Add anniversary increases are outlined on page 22 of this agreement. 2, Schedule B, Salary by Title, Section 2, remove stipends and educational incentive, add anniversary increases in educational incentive. Therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council that the above requested revisions to the white blue-collar contract are hereby approved. We need a motion and a second to introduce, and then if the desire of the council was to table it, a tabling motion would then be appropriate.
So moved.
Second, anybody? No?
Motion made by Councilwoman Giandomenico, seconded by Councilwoman Pellegrin. Mayor, now you can have discussion, and if it ends in a tabling motion, that would be appropriate at that time.
Mayor, discussion, if I may. Again, if my colleagues would indulge me and table this to the May 10th meeting, I think it could use a little more discussion.
Well, what I'm confused about is, Council President, we agreed on this to kick it back to the white collar union for the discussion. And what I find interesting is that yesterday at about like 5:30 PM, we got Barbara's agenda with everything going up. This morning at 10:30, our clerk sent us a bunch of follow-up, and one of them was about meeting with the stewards for the white and blue collar contracts, and I will keep my comments vague, Joe, because I'm not sure what's part of negotiations and what's outside of it. But it's a position that is open in the rec department, which we're looking, not us, the council majority is looking to alter the hours at it, despite what the department had recommended and the board recommended. And because the shop stewards came back and saying that they're currently not ready to do what the council majority would like to, suddenly we're tabling this. So I'm confused, is this like a premeditated action or why we're discussing it further?
Councilman, respectfully, it is unrelated, and I do see it as really being an executive matter, a matter of negotiation, so I'd rather not get into that conversation.
A matter that was approved by everybody at a work session.
Again, my reasons for tabling this to another meeting would fall under executive and negotiation and personnel type discussions, so this isn't the appropriate forum to get into that. You are free to go against my table to motion, then if it fails, you'll never find out what the concern was to begin with.
Oh, no, I will definitely go against it, because what we agreed about is, it was a position open up in the rec department, and our department head and our rec committee voted against being the hours tabled, because based on their years of experience with the position, the council majority wanted to alter the hours that the proposed position was available to work nights and weekends that did not fit the scope of work that was required by that position. However, we indulge that our BA goes interviews people, and we do different altercation of hours against what our department had and what the rec advisory board recommended. And now that it came back, that the white union is coming back and saying that they're not okay with it because it goes against our contract, suddenly we're tabling this. And to me, that just seems really premeditative and with a course
Councilman,
action on it. I'll have to say,
I'm really not following your argument too
You
much,
don't have
but
to follow it, but
I'm not following a lot of what you're saying, but again, you're conflating two separate issues. There's an appropriate place to discuss the other thing that you're starting to talk about, and that may be later today, maybe at a different point, but you're conflating two separate issues.
Mr. Kazner, how do we get this tabled? I respect our council
I think
president's
it's deliberative
decision.
and getting back at the union, but.
Any member of
That
the
is,
council...
see, that is, again,
That is what?
these,
Come on, Dan, cut it.
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. What I was going to say is that your little drive-by comments serve no purpose here. We're talking about something that's in front of us. I make a motion, let's debate it on the merits. You're getting into other things, and it's getting old.
Second.
Mayor, you have a tabling motion on the floor from Council President Golovec. You need a second to table.
I will
Okay.
second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Pellegrin. At this point, discussion has ended. We're obligated to take a roll call. So the affirmative vote would be to table the resolution until the work session. Council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Churda,
Table.
Table,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico,
No.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Golovec.
Yes.
Motion to table is adopted. Mayor, moving on to departmental reports, we have the Library Board minutes from February 26, 2018, Millennium Strategies Report for February 2018, Municipal Court Report supplemental in March for 2018, Finance Department Report for March of 2018, Recreation Advisory Board minutes for February 26, 2018, Building Department Report for February and January and February 2018, and the Police Department Report for March 2018.
May I have a motion to accept the file?
So moved.
reports? May I have a second? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Dombrowski. Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrini?
Yes.
Goldbeck?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Okay. Let's have a council report and want to start? Gentlemen, would you like to?
Sure. This evening, we had the retirement party for Dee, and she has provided a model of commitment and dedication that will truly inspire and encourage all future volunteers and members active in our community. Dee has dedicated over 23 years of community service to the Elmwood Park Volunteer Ambulance Corps, where she has served as the president and other offices. She has worked with the borough for over the last 20 years as a dispatcher in the police department. She has been the first and most critical contact that our residents have had with the emergency services. She has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during all of her numerous functions, and Dee, all of your work will truly be noted and respected in the borough. And also on the behalf of the ambulance corps, they have received less than half of their dedications that they usually get from their fund drive. So anything counts with them. If it's like an amount that constitutes the amount of your coffee in the morning, anything will really reach them highly. They spend about $900 a month for emergency services that they don't get back for emergency supplies. So that's about it.
Thank you. Ballestieri?
Yes. Okay, recreation, this past Saturday, Mayor and Council attended the opening day for softball and baseball. The weather was perfect for both. Great turnout, it was a great event, and thank you to all the coaches, the parents for their commitment and their volunteer time. We wouldn't have these programs if the parents and the coaches weren't so involved to help for the children. Also, the band shell should be completed by Saturday. It should be going up. And DPW, Passaic Valley Water has completed the new water main under the river that feeds Elmwood Park. The upgrade benefits Elmwood Park water system with new piping and better service and pressure from Passaic Valley Water. The parks, the branches and debris are being cleaned up. The conditions of the park equipment are also being checked. The sweeper's out in it again, to covering all the sections. And I guess that's it for me.
Thank
Progress.
you. Anthony?
Came fast, came fast.
Oh, sorry.
Stop now, I guess.
We must stop now for the tape. We back. Okay, Mr. Chero?
Thank you, Mayor. As liaison to the Homeowners Association, there's a homeowners meeting on April 25th at 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. They have three lovely ladies as their speaker. I believe it's Councilwoman Pellegrini, Councilwoman Ballestieri, and Councilwoman Giandomenico. So it should be a good night out. So please, don't forget, the 25th of April, 7 p.m. At the Senior Center. One really great thing I wanted to point out, former Councilman Trowinski came to the last public meeting, and he spoke about I guess you could say a technological way of kind of identifying different concerns or different issues, kind of mainly with like potholes. So at the last work session, we brought up that maybe we should institute something to that extent, and our borough administrator put together an email address, epconcerns@elmwoodparknj.us. If you want to check it out, it's also on the Facebook page, on the borough website. This is a great way when you're walking around town, whether you see a pothole of a large concern, any type of issue within the borough, you can take a picture of it, send it to this email, and it will make sure that it gets the appropriate person to kind of get it addressed. I think this is a good move in the right direction for a streamlined approach to communication. Two other items. As chair of the ordinance committee, if you opened up the community news today, there were two things that struck out to me. A lot of the towns within the surrounding communities are looking to either strengthen or I guess strengthen their rules and guidelines on anti-nepotism. I thought that was a good article. And then another one in the front page. On the front page, it was the officers seized 25 pounds of marijuana. And that kind of tied into something that I thought was a good thing for the, not a good thing to seize it, but also a good thing in terms of the buzz around the state in regards to the possible potential legalizing of marijuana. I thought it was a good idea in the council's case to be a little proactive. So we drafted an ordinance that restricts the use of marijuana throughout the community in the event that it does become legalized, but unfortunately it didn't pass the work sessions to get it to an actual a vote to have this on the books just in case that this does become legalized. I thought it would be a proactive approach within the borough, but it was only in favor of, for myself and Councilman Jim Domenico. Outside of that, it got voted down. So I was a little disappointed. I thought proactive is better. I didn't see a reason why it was a negative point to have it. Again, I think proactiveness is a little bit better than reactiveness. So outside of that, Mayor, thank you.
Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're 109 days into the new year. Our fire department has answered 125 fire calls or have been called out to service 125 times already this year. So obviously, we're averaging more than one a day. Yesterday, we had a fire at Marcal. Thankfully, it was a small fire, but it was a fire that did require numerous towns to come in and help us assist with the fire. And also, this past week, our fire department also helped out our Elmwood Park Police Department, as well as I believe our ambulance corps did as well. We had 2 young juveniles missing from their home around 9 o'clock at night, and thankfully, with the help of the Fire Department, Police Department, Ambulance Corps, and the searching and the detectives, we found the young children safe and sound. They have been reunited with their families. So again, I just thank all of our volunteers as well as our police department for making a terrible moment a happier moment. I'd also like to congratulate Ryan Ferber, Matthew Perez, Rami Kuz for becoming firefighters in our volunteer service, and I'd like to also congratulate Robert C. Bruce for becoming a junior firefighter. He has gone through the Explorer program, which is growing every month with new members, which is outstanding, and he is now turned of age and will now become a junior firefighter and then get his certification to become a firefighter. Councilwoman Jen Domenico mentioned about our ambulance corps not meeting their needs as far as donations go. I think that goes across pretty much everywhere, not just here in Elmwood Park, but also our fire department. So I can honestly tell you last Saturday, they had their tag day, Company 4 did. I also know that there'll be tag days going on during the course of the spring for other firehouses and our ambulance corps. So please do support those tag days. It helps them with their meeting their needs. From the Chamber of Commerce, Tuesday, May 8th at 6 p.m., the Chamber of Commerce will be meeting, and the theme is continuing the conversation with the mayor and council. If you don't get a chance to come here, please, by all means, meet down at it's called Atmaya Adult Daycare. It's located right next door to Dorwin at 109 Midland Avenue here in Elmwood Park. If you're going to attend, please RSVP by May 4th to marketing@elmwoodparkregionalchamber.org. Again, that's marketing@elmwoodparkregionalchamber.org. You do not need to be a business owner. All you have to be is a person who's interested and they could show up. And then finally, I would also like to congratulate Dolores Candriello Vandermeed for her retirement and her services here in Elmwood Park. Dolores has been a friend of my family for the last 54 years. She grew up with my sister. They were best friends. Dolores came to my house on a number of occasions when my grandmother was still alive, as actually through her services and her help, helped me have another 3 years with my grandmother for her, because of her efforts. And that's something that I will never forget. I was deeply saddened I had to miss her retirement dinner tonight because of business reasons, but she's a wonderful person, and I only wish her well moving forward in her life. Thank you. Progress.
Thank you. Pellegrini? Pellegrini.
My Board of Health update, they had their meeting on the 16th, and they have 2 upcoming events. On April 24th, Tuesday, right here in the chamber, they're going to be having somebody from the county come in and talk about our wildlife situations. There will be question and answer period, so it should be very informative, so I hope everybody comes out for that night. Also, their 2018 rabies clinic is coming up on May 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Fire Company Number 4 on Muller Boulevard. And their next meeting is May 14th at 7 p.m. My police update, also next week, on Thursday, April 26th, right here, 7 p.m., we're having a police meet and greet. I left brochures out by the agenda over there. It's gonna be a very special night. I worked with the chief from the beginning of the year, and they're gonna teach us how to keep our homes safer. They're gonna have a company come in, the Ring doorbell, if you wanna go that avenue and add to your house security. Also, there's gonna be a police sign-up sheet where they will come to your house free of charge, and they will walk the perimeter and tell you what you can do to keep your home safe. Again, this is all free of charge. There will be handouts, there will be many discussions going on, so please, our police are so good to us and on a daily basis. So please get your neighbors, your friends, your family, and come out on the 26th for them. We really appreciate it. I'm so excited. Also, this is for Doris. Stop signs will be going up on Spidell. They're ordered. They should be going up in the next couple of weeks. That will make the section by Gilbert Ave School all the way down Spidell 4-way stops now. We also have them on Elm Street. We recently did that, and the chief told me it's working out very well. And this is to keep the area safer. People speed up and down those streets, so it's just a way of slowing things down and keeping everything safe. So we're very happy about that, and I know Doris is especially happy about that. Also, applications are now available for the 2018 Junior Police Academy. Ages 10 to 13 will be July 16th through July 20th. Ages 14 to 16 will be July 23rd to July 27th. Applications are, of course, available at the police department, or you can go on our website, www.elmwoodparknj.us. Applications have to be completed and returned by May 9th. So if you want to be a part of that great program, please get your application. Also, I'm going to repeat something Anthony mentioned in the community news. Our Elmwood Park Narcotics Unit recently seized 25 pounds of marijuana and $30,000 in cash. The estimated street value of this siege was $250,000. This is believed to be the largest drug seizure in the history of the police department, so good job, Elmwood Park PD. Also, on April 10th, we had our department head meeting. It was a very informative session. I want to thank Mayor Caramagna and Keith Kazmar and all the department heads for all their updates. And their next meeting will be May 22nd at 10 a.m. I also would like to thank Doris Vandermeed, we call her Dee, for all her years of service to our police department and on our ambulance corps. I mean, this woman has given her entire life to our community. I wish her nothing but happiness and good health in her retirement. And again, thank you so much for all you have done for all of us. We really appreciate you. And lastly, I just want to also thank our newly appointed firefighters and our junior firefighter, and thank them for volunteering. We always need volunteers, and for people to come out and do the work they do, we're so grateful. And I have to mention their names again, too, to give them recognition. Ryan Ferber, Matthew Perez, Rami Kuz, and the junior firefighter, Robert Bruce. Thank you, and please stay safe out there, and progress.
Thank you. President.
Thank you, Mayor. The Board of Education will be meeting on Tuesday, April 24th. At that meeting, they'll be adopting their budget for this year. I guess in May, I will have a report on what that final budget came out to me, the tax impact, and all the relevant information for the residents. There were no planning board meetings in the month of April because there were no applications pending in front of the board. So there were no meetings. There's nothing to report on that. Hopefully, we'll get started off again in May with applications. Last week, the mayor and council got the opportunity to listen to a planner, a professional planner, come in and give a presentation. I think at the May 10th meeting, we'll have another planner in for another perspective. The mayor and council is looking at professional planning as a way to see if there are areas of town we can revitalize and spruce up. So, I mean, this is a long process, just even going from having a planner to a finished product anywhere. But nonetheless, it's a process that we have to start, and this is our beginning point. So we're working on that. Just in reference to the comment about the marijuana ordinance by the councilman, I don't think it's a question of if it's going to be voted on. It's a matter of when. I think we still will be able to be proactive. Once we see what the text of any bill or any compromise is, we can tailor our ordinance to meet anything that's in there and still be out ahead of the curve if the council chooses to vote on it. So I think it's a matter of timing and not a disagreeing on the principle itself. And finally, we do not meet May 3rd, the first Thursday of May. However, and this is just throwing it out to the council, I think if we are available, or at least some of us, if we could use that night for committee meetings, I think that would be beneficial. I mean, we can talk offhand, but even though we're off a week, let's keep moving and progressing on some things that we're working on. So with that, Mayor, progress. Thank you.
Thank you. So now that's
In progress, Mayor.
okay. Hello, everybody. First of all, I offer my condolences to Jeff Leader's family, as well my condolences goes to Councilwoman Pellegrini, Sandy Balistrieri, and for loss of a brother. Sorry about that. And now, Mr. Dombrowski, you said that two boys or girls?
Two juveniles.
But they were not missing. They were in the fence house.
Correct.
And that's where they were. They didn't
Correct.
tell parents.
Right.
Right.
They were found safely.
I read the community news, and I guess Anthony mentioned that nepotism. Perhaps we should be clear with this nepotism. Nepotism, an elected official cannot employ a relative to work for the borough. He can appoint a relative, any board, as long as they don't get paid. In my case, somebody put on Facebook that I'm not, transparent. Just want to be clear to everyone. I did appoint my two son-in-laws, one on the planning board, the other on the library board. They don't get paid. They only go there if I am not there. They substitute me when I am absent. And normally they don't pay, they don't vote. Probably they could vote if I'm not there, right? They could take one vote. The reason is, I'm sure there will be a nepotism, probably, if I am there and they're also there, and both of us will vote. But that's not the case. Just, they're only taking my place if I am not there. So some people, they don't understand what nepotism really is. The other thing is that I have to say this. I never asked anyone in town, DPW, to help me to connect to water or anything else. Let's be clear on this. And then never vote to change the zoning for my gain. I'm here as a mayor to serve the people. I don't expect any money in return. Thank God, as an immigrant, I had my American dream. I work very hard, and I don't need anyone. If I need service, I pay people for it. Well, perhaps I would never ask anybody who works for the borough to do anything for me. So, I guess that's what I want to say, because Facebook says things, nepotism, people don't understand what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you add something about nepotism?
Well, according to the ordinance, the ordinance does say that, and you cannot appoint someone to be employed in a position where they're getting paid. According to the ordinance, you have not violated that ordinance, if that's your question.
Did I violate the ordinance?
Not my reading of the ordinance.
Okay. I guess I'm done, and thank you. I guess Dee Colandrillo, I guess, really did such a hard work for the town. She sacrificed herself, and I appreciate what she did. So I have nothing else. Thank you. You guys said everything else.
Mayor will need a motion to open the hearing to the public.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
If anyone from the public wishes to be heard, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone from the public? Mr. Nestori? Oh, I'm sorry. Freitag.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. I just want to clarify something, maybe what I believe is incorrect here. Regarding the marijuana that has been spoken, the marijuana ordinance, or whatever you want to call it, is it regarding use or sale?
It was sale, Jeff. It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I apologize if I maybe I didn't say it, but yeah, it was to restrict the sale.
Okay,
of
that's
it
what I
within,
thought. Oh.
Yeah, within a certain commercial zone and quarter mile from a school and such like that. Yeah, sorry if I didn't.
I know that, I don't know if, there's nothing concerning the legalization or the legal sale or anything, or the legal use. I'm just wondering, I know that this is being considered to somewhat limit where it can be sold, but at the same time, is there any consideration going to be as far as limiting its use at the same time, if it is allowed to be used in a recreational way, such as the use in a park, the use outside of a school, or anything like that? Is that something that can be considered, even though there is nothing on the books currently to...
Well, again, and Mr. Freitag, that's where it kind of gets into the thinking I'm in, is, yes, we could do that, I guess, but if the state, if the bill comes out and puts in, safety protection for churches, schools, and, we can react to that as opposed to just putting down numbers, responding to nothing. Things may already be covered. So I think when we see what that framework is, if it's not covering certain usage that we do want it to cover, we can respond to that.
But likewise, couldn't that be done for sale?
I'm sorry?
For the sale also. If you're not considering the use, but you're only considering the sale, if it never happens, at that point, likewise, you don't know what the law is going to be, so you could address the issue at that time. Usually when laws are created or passed by the legislature, the governor signs it and everything, there's a time frame that's involved subsequent to that signing that gives municipal bodies and other legislative bodies the ability to address that in their own particular way. So I don't know if it's premature to do this. It might be the right thing to do, and I mean, this body will make that decision themselves regarding zoning or whatever. But I was just think that you would also might have to consider that if you're considering the sale, would it also be the use? And doing it in a preemptive way, or in a, I know the word is overused, we do things in a proactive way. But anyway, it is, just to clarify, it is for the sale of.
Yeah, and Jeff, the thought process that I had was to do it a little, and just in the sale regards, as a little proactive, that if it does get passed, then it doesn't look like we're singling one type of business and putting an ordinance just for that business. That's why I was kind of thinking more proactive, do it before it happens.
But aren't you doing that?
No, we're not.
No, I mean, you say, well, you can't sell marijuana
Well,
here?
it's the same-
You're singling out a business.
We really modeled it off of the same,
Yeah.
Joe, is it like the liquor?
Has any municipality done this? I've seen other ones that have
I think Garfield, Hawthorne has.
limited, no, I think
Yeah.
they've done away with it.
Yeah,
You can't sell.
Some towns did, I think Haledon or North Haledon barred it from the whole municipality.
Yeah,
Based on its size.
They ban its sale.
yeah.
which, that may be another matter. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Don't say George, because there's two.
Sorry, Mr. Ristori. George, my best friend.
George Nestori, 2 Sabo Court. You guys have to do something about the sound system.
It's coming. It's coming, George.
Really, it's done?
It's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, I thought you said it's done.
Through you, Mayor, the new sound system will be installed next Thursday.
Now, how many liquor licenses do we have in town?
26?
You know?
26?
26.
For consumption and purchase.
And these are all various
Well, there's 3 different types of liquor licenses. There's a consumption license, which
Right.
would be at a restaurant or a bar. There's a package license, which would be from a liquor store, and then there's club licenses, of which I think we have 6 of just those.
Are we going to increase that?
We don't have any capacity to do so. We're
Okay.
assigned what we're assigned. We had one additional, which was lost by the owner for failure to renew, and it cannot be reestablished.
All right, I hope that's too many for a small town, you know? What type of security officer is that in the school system? Does he carry a gun and all? Yeah? Oh, that's good. Okay. And let me ask you. Mr. Randazzo, Resolution 14618, what did the engineer do that he's going to be executed? I'm beginning, the way it's written.
Practice that one, Mr. Ristori.
It says execution of an engineer. All right, are we going to clean out the storm drains?
I'm okay, don't worry.
We have to have some fun, you know that? I mean, Danny, does it look like it's going to execute an engineer, right?
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, okay. I'm an engineer, I'm scared that I might get executed. All right, are we going to clean out the storm drains, Keith, for the spring?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we've already begun that process after the heavy rains that we received.
And they're going to clean out Police Kip Avenue's culvert?
Yeah, Scott's been in touch with the county on that as well.
Don't we have an ordinance in town on the random use of these stupid signs that you see? Somebody bangs up on a pole or sticks in the ground, and we buy houses, cash, jobs, you know, don't we, I thought we passed an ordinance a few years ago.
It's funny because the police chief and I just had a conversation this week about the enforcement of that, and we're working with the building department and public works, in addition to the police department. The
Okay.
chief actually goes out and takes them down himself, so.
Now, we were talking about the marijuana problem. Is it appropriate for maybe you guys send a resolution down to Trenton saying that you're opposed to legalizing the recreational use of marijuana? I mean, I hope the council's for it. At least, I mean, if they want to use it medicinally, that's one thing, but for recreational use, it's nothing but a problem wherever it's been legalized. Huge problems. So maybe a resolution sent down to Trenton saying that the mayor and council of Elmwood Park or the town of Elmwood Park, whatever you want, however you want to say it. Now, I discussed this, I don't know how many times, I've been pushing for like 25, 30 years. Big proponent of resident parking. And I don't know how many people on the council are amenable to it. I'd like to discuss it slightly with you. Maybe you can put it in a hopper and let's get this thing done. It would definitely improve the quality of life and other improvements as well. I spoke to Roy Rigatano, and our water cost for the year, Elmwood Park pays $2 million. Our recycling is $320,000. Our solid waste is $1.3 million. and our sewage is $614,236. And that comes to $4,234,236. Now, if we have resident parking, we have roughly 20,000 people in town, something like that, right, Frank? And how many, we know that there are illegal apartments in our town. People that shouldn't be, one-family houses made into two, or mother-daughter types, two-family houses made into three. You can see, these mailboxes, you might see two mailboxes in a one-family house, you might see three mailboxes in a two-family house. So we know there's a lot of illegal stuff going on. If we look at resident parking, and of course we got to adopt resolutions that we think, or an ordinance that we think would be appropriate for our town, but if you go down Kip Avenue, I remember years ago, people in Kip Avenue and Martha Avenue were uptight because Garfield, when they passed the resident parking, a lot of these people parked in Elmwood Park, on the fringes. In Fair Lawn, they do the same thing, because they have no overnight parking, whatever. So I think for quality of life, especially the apartment complex around there, the one-family houses that are adjacent to the apartment complex, there's a lot of people from the apartments that park on the street in front of these houses, and people don't have parking. I think there's a lot of illegal apartments, a lot of illegal residents coming into our town. So if we have resident parking in the beginning, we can, it'll get off the ground. It might cost us a little bit of money, but in the long run, the quality of life it would help the police department. It would help us in every different ways, would be great. And if we just have 1% of the dwellers in our town, this is an estimate, and we have $4.234 million in those costs, 1% would be $42,000 we save. 2% have to leave, it would be $84,000. This is permanent. Plus the quality of life. 3% would be $126,000. And I'm not including any illegal students in our school system, which could be another 15, 20,000. So I would look at this very seriously, and I think what you should do is discuss it, have meetings, and talk with the towns that have them, and go with the plus and minuses of what it can produce and how you can write a resolution that would help. I hope that the mayor and council for it. I know when I was at the last homeowners meeting, it seemed like everybody there was 100% for it. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it seemed like everybody was for it. And he told me to come and discuss it with the mayor and council and see what you guys think of it. So please, take it into consideration, and it's an easy thing to do to build up the town a little bit. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Councilor Mayor. George Martinez, 89 Glenwood. So not to beat a dead horse, just looking for some clarification, and I guess based on what you had said, Councilman Cherto, there is some clarification. It's only for the sale, when it does pass, because I'm in agreement with you, it's not if, it's when. I haven't been a resident here long, so I just want a general feel, I guess, in a public forum from the council. If and when it does pass, are you only looking to limit the sale of it, which I'm actually in agreement with for a town as small as Elmwood Park, the surroundings, the infrastructure, I think that's a good call. However, would you at all consider not allowing it within city limits if the statewide legislator and governor passes it and makes it legal? Or is that something you're not even interested in touching or hasn't been discussed? Like, if the state passes it and it becomes recreational, will you let it stand and only focus on the sale? Or is there some intention, or do some of you feel that you should limit the use of it within town limits?
I think, Councilman, I think the council should consider it. I think it's a good idea. 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 I think it's a good id think before, you want to answer this? I think before we think about it, we have to learn a lot. We have really, I'm going to Mayor's Convention next week, and I want the class to be on Friday, talk about this here. I'm willing to learn. I've been speaking to the sheriff, and the sheriff, if this passes, he tells me the dogs are obsolete. That's a lot of waste of money. And really, I want to learn. I want to learn a lot, because I have no idea. I'll never smoke a cigarette in my life. So I don't even know what that is. So I guess we all need an education before.
Would the council be open to putting it up for a referendum vote, maybe possibly, to get, the feel of the town? Because I think that should be the right call, right? I can't speak for all the 20,000 residents of Elmwood Park, but I would like to think that it's not going out too much on the limb to think that most of them would be in agreement if it were to pass. I mean, that's been the feel for New Jersey for a while. I think it just got passed in Maine in a veto-proof majority, because I know their governor wanted to veto it. So again, I mean, yes, I think it's fair to get more educated, I agree. But, you are representatives of the people, so I think maybe putting up to a referendum vote and seeing how how it lies or how it falls. And, if the majority of the town says no, then all right, no, that's fair. But if the majority of the town says yes, I think that you should respect that, and as elected officials, you should go with that. And that's just my opinion.
Mayor, through you,
Yeah.
may I add something?
Sure.
So, George, just so you have some background here, there were,
Sure.
at the council's request, Mr. Randazzo provided two different versions of the ordinance.
Okay.
One would have outlawed the sale of marijuana throughout the entire municipality.
Which I think
The
is good.
second restricted it to certain zones within the municipality based upon the recommendation of the zoning officer.
The sale or the use?
The sale.
Okay,
We're only
which I think they're all good, that's
So
good.
conceptually, the way this is being rolled out, and, we don't have any definitive, to the mayor's point, we don't have any definitive answers at this point.
Okay.
But the way they're talking about it is it'll be somewhat similar to a liquor license,
Okay.
where these establishments will need to be licensed. The number that's been thrown out there, and this is just rumor,
Yeah.
is 2 per county. So,
Yeah, I've heard
70
that.
towns in Bergen County. The question becomes, and the debate that folks in municipal government are debating right now, is if a municipality, like North Haledon, bans it completely, the sale, does that become a constitutional argument once it's legal? So, but that's one of the discussions that's out there. So
Okay.
to the mayor's point, I think we have ordinances ready to go.
Yeah.
And while some council members are very passionate, just like they were in North Haledon, to eliminate it, and we respect that, we started with 2 different versions. But until the state gives us some additional guidance, we're gonna have to see what direction we would ultimately end up, based on what they tell us.
Okay.
In addition to taking in what the residents think.
Okay, and maybe just some clarification on my part if I didn't articulate that correctly. The sale of it, I think that's fair game. I'm more so for the use of residents within the town, within town limits if and when it does pass, that's all, if the council wanted to limit that. The sale is a whole other ballpark, and I might even be in agreement that it shouldn't be in Elmwood Park. Those are different nuances we'd have to look into. I was more concerned about the potential limiting of the use of residents using it if in fact the state said it's legal for recreational purpose, and that's all.
Yeah, and just to add, Mr. Martinez, I mean, that's something that council hasn't discussed, and
Okay.
it probably is premature. I'm sure the state is going to have, some guidelines. I think in an ideal world, or maybe how I would see it, this would become, if it were legal, like alcohol, like smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
You can't drink a beer on the sidewalk,
course not.
walking down the street. I think it would be treated similarly, and I think...
And it should.
Right.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should.
But again, it's a conversation we haven't had. And just to your point
Okay.
about a referendum, I think that would also be premature because as we saw with the state legislature a few years back with casino gambling and everything, and when they couldn't come together on their own, they threw it on the ballot. This might end up on the ballot on its own. So it's we're still, I think, in wait-and-see mode with
Okay.
a lot of these things.
That's fair. And one more second point of clarification, and I guess I would ask this of either you or Clerk Hasmark. I'm not a finance major, numbers are not my thing, and again, it's just clarification, I'm not trying to be combative. But in looking at these line items here, it looks as if you're anticipating a surplus of $3.6 million, right? Under the Summary of Appropriations 5M, you're reserving for uncollected taxes, so you're holding about 2.2 million. So the difference within that already would pay for those bonds that you're looking to take out. And we're already currently under 5D here. There's a municipal debt service of $1.8 million, which we're already paying for in debt. So why does the council think it's prudent and fiscally responsible to add an additional $413,000 to that debt when we have that money already there? For example, if I had $2,000 in my checking account and I wanted to buy a $500 TV, should I put that on my credit card and pay interest on it, or should I just flat out, give the $500 and buy it straight out? And again, I'm not a finance major here, so if there's some clarification or misunderstanding on my end, let me know.
Mayor, there is no doubt that the Borough of Elmwood Park has a very healthy surplus.
Yeah.
And that's due to proper planning, this council and councils that preceded them.
Yeah.
There are times where we elect to pay cash. We would set up a bond ordinance for purposes of funding it. It's more of a financial tool in the finance department to fund it. But like, for example, the water tower project that we're doing at the end of Gilbert Avenue, that's going to be paid for in cash.
Okay.
So there was a bond ordinance introduced to set up that financial mechanism, but we will pay that construction project off in cash, and we will not incur any debt. The same can be said about the ordinance we introduced tonight for the paving of streets. That's going to be paved in part through a grant that we've received from the Community Development Block Grant Program. So when we pay that off, we will take that grant money as a receivable from the county, and we will pay off the debt service, or we will pay off the project without having to incur any debt service.
Got it.
So when you
Okay.
see a bond ordinance come up for a vote, some are in fact creating debt. We will, in the next in the next month or so, we will introduce a bond ordinance for the 2018 road resurfacing program. Council agreed last week on a dollar amount to spend on road resurfacing.
Yeah.
That will be a project where we will take on debt service, additional debt service.
Okay.
But as they come up, and as the engineer and the finance team recommends to the council, what we're going to incur debt for and pay off over an extended period of time versus what we have the financial capability to pay for at the time, we make those decisions based on a project-by-project basis.
Okay, and are these current ones that you're looking to repave in this moment, are these part of that list? Because I know there's
No,
an existing
This
list.
is a standalone project.
So this is
It's gonna be
separate from that
paid-
list that the
that's gonna
engineer
be
created?
paid- A good part of it will be paid through a grant from this.
So that's exempt from that potential 900,000 or whatever?
But understand, if you continue to come to these meetings, you're going to see bond ordinances set up.
Okay.
Some will have debt associated.
And
with
some
them,
won't because they'll
some
be
will
by
not,
the grants.
But it's all done as a financial mechanism to
Okay.
set up the financing of the project under the CFO's purview.
Okay, awesome, just clarification. Thank you, guys, thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes,
We have one more.
come forward.
please come to the mic and state your name.
I'd like to point of order to ask either the clerk or to the council president.
Go to the
I'm
mic,
not a
please.
resident of Elmwood Park, but I do participate in the business. My girlfriend's family has lived here the whole life. Am I still...
I need you to state your name and the record.
My apologies. My name is Joseph Oswald,
And your
and
address.
I live at 1451 Chandler Drive in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, but I'm a partner in a business that operates out of Elmwood Park, 34 Phillip Ave. I just wanted to clarify whether or not I had the right to speak at this public hearing.
You do.
Thank you so much. I have a few things. For one, I'd like to show how much I do support the mayor and council's plans for revitalizing the business areas of Elmwood Park. The business in which I've incorporated does work out of Elmwood Park right now, but we are very much anticipating having a brick and mortar business to operate out of, and I think it's really important considering all the other towns that you surround. I do sit on some committees in Fair Lawn. I'm aware that Garfield has revitalized and that there are places, Paramus, things like that. I'm actually from South Jersey, so I'm used to living in a place where there's nothing around except for a Wawa and maybe a gas station. So I very much would like to voice the support of not just Elmwood Park residents, but other people around that. I think it's a great idea to encourage people, even from outside the town, to invest in Elmwood Park, to invest in the tax base, and to build businesses. With regards to that, and also to go off of the building of businesses, I just wanted to mention too, since almost everybody has mentioned something about the marijuana ordinances, I've actually done some research into these things. I've been to several states in which marijuana has been legalized recreationally, and as long as you're not on federal property or state parks, things like that, then you're pretty much in the clear to use these things just as you would alcohol or tobacco. In almost any one of these states, the surpluses have exceeded the tax base taken off of things like alcohol and tobacco, have paid for things like senior services, Meals on Wheels, education projects, road projects, infrastructure, and things of that nature. And it would seem that it, over the course of the past 2 decades, has been receiving public support that is only increasing. I find it to be somewhat of a partisan issue, but I also have taken note that a strong majority of people are in favor of moving forward with a less restrictive, less penalized view on marijuana. And if it is a potential tax base and a potential, even if it's only 2 licenses per town, you're still talking about a good bit of money that could be added to the revenue of any town in particular in which it goes, especially if you consider that similar ordinances and similar laws are being passed in states like New York, Connecticut, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, places, even Washington, D.C., you're talking Colorado, all these other places. And if you remember with the casino issues, Atlantic City was a huge revenue booster for the state of New Jersey until New York and Pennsylvania started opening casinos up right on the border of New Jersey, which started to depress the economy of South Jersey, where I'm from. I saw it firsthand. I saw the crime that was created from the depression of the economy, the joblessness, the poverty, and the health issues that came from that. So I think that one of the things, if you're going to talk about being proactive, is being proactive in seizing the opportunity to make the money off of these things, seizing the opportunity to be the leader in how these things are regulated properly and safely, just like alcohol or tobacco is. And I think that if anybody, including towns like North Haven and all these places, have already passed these ordinances, that there's a couple of possibilities. One, you might find the state would preempt municipal ordinances by passing legislation that would not allow municipalities to ban the outright use, or would at least require them to have at least some zones allowing it. I do know that Ocean County is a dry county for alcohol, but again, that's been around for a long time. So I think that if it was going to be anything, it would have to be a county issue. Preempting it with any kind of an ordinance or regulation would be similar to saying that you're going to say that no spaceships are allowed to land in the borough of Elmwood Park, because in all likelihood, you could have a spaceship, you could have a flying car sometime in the future. It doesn't exist now, but there's no point to being proactive about something that we don't fully understand, and that research has proven has actually been beneficial more so than it's been negligent in the scope of health and things like that, especially when Clerk Kazmark had mentioned that there are 26 liquor licenses in town, despite the moral, legal, and health problems associated with things like liquor and tobacco. But education and health care for seniors and for low-income families is derived in part by massive taxes on tobacco and large taxes on alcohol. I understand that New Jersey is a very unique state, that's a lot of home rule, that towns and things like that have a lot of specific power that other states do not give counties or towns. But I just think that it's taking a proactive role. Yes, sir.
We only have a few minutes.
I apologize. I just wanted to finish up by saying that I think taking a proactive role would mean things like positive lawmaking, things that would make it healthier and more useful to the citizens rather than just being restrictive outright, when obviously with a council majority that has changed recently, it shows that the public has more in favor than in disfavor. I appreciate you letting me take the time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm going to take a motion to close the public
Well,
hearing.
hold on, they may ask if there's anybody else.
Yeah, change the thing.
I think that young lady wants to talk.
Is anyone else who wishes to speak, please? No? Oh, I guess we can
No.
close.
Sir, did you want to speak, sir? No. Oh, okay.
No, okay.
Thank you. I thought he...
I guess if no one else wishes to be heard, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Call roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Ballestieri?
Yes.
Certo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Giandomenico?
Yes.
Pellegrin?
Yes.
Golovec?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, we have reason to go into executive session. We may in fact come out after the executive session to take action on one additional resolution. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion from the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss personnel in the Recreation Department, minutes will be kept. Once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes will be made public. Now therefore Be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. Mayor will need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion, please.
Second.
Pellegrini, Dombrowski. On roll call, council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Sherrill,
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yep. Yes.
Domenico,
Yes.
Pellegrini,
Yes.
Golubek.
Yes.
Motion carries. And as I said, Mayor, we're going to keep the recording devices operational in case we do come out for the public vote.
You want to read it?
Good.
Yeah.
Mayor, at this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting at 10:26 PM following the executive session. At this time, the mayor and council have voted in executive session not to take any further action on the proposed resolution, so all we need is a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Dombrowski, Golubek, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks.